there are a lot of people, you see in newspapers, articles and all these are pretty popular guys, but there are actually a lot many people who are the faces behind these faces. So what we did was pretty much put together a panel which focuses on bringing together these stories, and I'd like to invite the Executive Director of TIE Hyderabad, Ms. Sridevi Devireddy, to please come onto the dais. She would be introducing much better than I do, so ma'am, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Every day we come across many people who keep us spellbound with their groundedness. We come across many people who let their work talk. We come across many people who have climbed the ladder of success through their sheer hard work and determination. I'm fortunate today to introduce 5 of them to you today. The first one is a serial entrepreneur, a global citizen. He had 3 successful exits, and simpleton to the core. Let me introduce you to the President of TIE Hyderabad, Sri Suresh Chella Garu. Suresh Garu, please. The man who brought India map onto the printing landscape. The largest printer, the printing company in Asia. Yes, Australia, Asia, including Japan. The largest printing company is in Hyderabad. That is Pragati Art Printers. Sri Narendra Parachuri Garu. The man who brought light to the power sector. The man who is behind, please sir. The man who is behind the generation of 200 megawatts of power, conventional as well as new generation non-conventional power in India. Sri K. Vijay Kumar Garu, Chairman KVK Energy. 2000 megawatts of power, sorry. Now, the man we all know. The man who introduced midnight biryani in Hyderabad. Yes. The man who is behind the success story of Green Park. MAC Group of Companies, Murali Krishna Reddy Garu. How many of us don't like midnight biryani here? Last but not the least, the chairman of TMI Group of Companies, member of National Board of MSME, president of CEO Clubs Hyderabad, TM Muralidharan Garu. An acclaimed author, he just released his 2nd book yesterday. Thank you, sir. Thank you for gracing us today. The panel is titled Unlimited Inspiration. True to its spirit, we all are inspired by all of you. Now I would request Suresh Garu to take the discussion forward.
Good afternoon, everybody. Like the previous speaker said, I hope people here are here not to take a nap. Anyway, we will try to make it interesting. When Kiran actually asked me to come and do something for the August Fest, I was thinking the younger generation clearly has a lot of excitement in the new startup businesses and whatnot. And in reality, every business is a startup, right? So startup is not something new. We all kind of went through this whole startup phase, quite some time ago when the word startup was not very popular. And so what I thought we should do is, kind of give you a walk down the memory lane, if you will. Tell you maybe some stories about how things were in the early 80s. Most of you probably were not born then. So what we thought is, just to kind of give you some context about how things were when we started and the kind of formidable difficulties that they were in those days and how we overcame that. And, here the panel we have is, as it's rightly said, all of them are unsung heroes, but they are heroes in every, industry of their own. And, I would, first let me start, telling you a little bit about, maybe myself, and then I'll ask each of our panel members to speak a little bit. Apart from my current hat of, wearing the TIE president's hat, I started my career in 82 in California. In fact, in those days, foreign currency was extremely difficult to get. India really didn't have much foreign currency at all. In fact, I remember if you went to travel, the only amount of money you would get is like, $30 for taxi fare. And that's about it. The rest was all up to you. You had to figure out how you would, manage things. And so with such, difficult conditions, we all went through, I remember telephone connections. Actually getting a telephone connection was a waiting list of 15 years at the minimum. And, today we talk about, landline. In fact, that time there was nothing else other than a landline, right? And you could get a telephone connection by paying 30,000 rupees. Then you would get what is called a Tatkal connection. And for 30,000 rupees in those days, I probably could have bought 10 acres of land in Gachibowli. So it was that expensive actually. And, there were many instances where, funding was extremely difficult. It was, banks really didn't understand, a lot of things which, banks were the only funding sources in those days. There was no venture capital, or there was really no other sources of, funding. And so a lot of us had to bootstrap on our own and built our own businesses. So with that, I will ask my panelists to kind of give a little background about how they got started and, what challenges did they face, and, we'll go from there.
Good afternoon. My name is Vijay Kumar. I came from a medium family from Andhra Pradesh, and my father is in a small export business in Guntur. So I studied pharmacy, and then I joined in one company called Biological Evans here as a trainee. So that particular time, trainees, they never used to take care of any trainee, and they never used to give any work or something like that. And we don't know how to go about it. So my fundamental this thing is basically calling here for starting up. We started our companies, something like 30, 40 years back. I don't know what exactly is the technology has improved and everything is improved. I don't know what we can really share with you. But definitely whatever experiences what we had in the past, we wanted to share with you. As a trainee, I joined with them. They never used to give any work. I don't know what to do. Then finally, I had to take some initiative with the head of the department, and then just take care of him, and then see that, he will give the work to me. Almost for 6 months, I worked with the Biological Evans. And subsequently, I went to Bombay. There is a company called Duphar Interfron, where they manufacture crocin, lactic acid, and all these things. So I used to stay in one of my friend's house in that's the first time I went to Bombay. And I had a lot of difficulty in going to Thane, changing 2 trains, walking for 2 kilometers, and then going by bus. And then finally, when you go to the plant, we never used to have any stool to sit down. I did my pharmacy, but we never used to have any facility to learn or this thing. So unless we start, initiate, take interest, and then do something, wanted to learn something, so nobody will give us, training, they cannot take out the time and then really train you. So unless you have interest, and you are the person, you have to initiate yourself and then get into the training and then do what we can do. So finally one day my father has come after 6 months to Bombay, and then asked me to come whether you are liking this place or you wanted to come to Guntur. We have a traditional export business. So same day he went back, and I have decided to go back in the next day, and then went and joined in my father's business. It's a tobacco export business from Guntur, and we used to export tobacco to Russia, UK, and all other East European countries. The first job what they have given is to take care of the labor. We used to have 6,000 laborers with us, I just wanted to tell you, most of the ladies, almost 6,000 people who used to work with us, and they used to do house chore in their house, take care of the children, and then do cooking and everything. And they used to come by 8 o'clock to the plant and work until 5 o'clock. And then go home with, we never used to have any air conditioning, this, that, and the condition used to be very, very hard. Now, all youngsters, wherever we are working, we have better conditions. Still, everybody will complain that air conditioning is not there, chair is not there, this is not there, that is not there. That's where we used to work. That's where the conditions used to be. I really appreciate now, I'm remembering that kind of a work, what the ladies used to work between 30 to 60 years, all the day, and then go home and then work there. Really, we have to appreciate our women for working like that. Once they have some opportunity, definitely they work better and then do better, everything. And then my father used to, one day he told me to go for a factory, work in the night shift. I said, what the bloody hell, night shift working? 2 to night 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock. I don't know, but normally we don't like going. But after going there, really we can appreciate what exactly is happening between 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So normally we don't see otherwise. We don't know what exactly is the people facing the problem, what kind of problem they are facing, and how to overcome it. We ourselves, cannot sleep. We cannot without sleep, we cannot have work all the time. So working for 2-3 months really is a kind of eye-opening for us. What is happening and how to help them out, who are all working, and what are the precautions what we have to take and all that. So these are the experiences we used to have at that particular time. I don't know, even now also people must be working from 10 to 6. And unless our children, our youngsters, unless they work, they don't really experience that kind of a thing, what is happening in the night and how to go about it. That used to be the case in 80s when we started our business. And subsequently, when export business, we never had, we used to export to Russia, and then I don't know Russian, and they don't know this thing. And we used to go for a dinner, and we used to enjoy drink, and the business used to be in a piece of paper. He used to write, and we used to have the different grades, and he used to say $1. I used to say, no, not $1, $2 in writing. And finally, we used to come with the $1.50 or something like that. Without any language understanding, we used to have we used to have a good dinner, good meeting, and a good business. And finally, we used to close that business and then used to come. And that is the kind of experience what we used to have in those particular days. These are the experiences in what we have faced in our life at that particular time. And subsequently, after this thing, I thought I'll go for some manufacturing business. I went to lamps manufacturing. There is a passion, not that my father told me why you are going to Hyderabad and have this business is good, and we used to have 10 crores business and we used to make a profit of 2 crores. So, but I am interested and I am passionate about manufacturing. So I came here to Hyderabad in 1984 or 85. I started my own business of manufacturing tubes and bulbs along with the Crompton Graves. I used to take care of the manufacturing and they used to market the product, and we had a good experience with both of us. But we are in that business for almost 7-8 years. Since we are not getting literally very good margins. We stopped that. We stopped and then came to power business. So in the power from last 1999 to 2010, we had excellent. We started a small project, a power project of 20 megawatts in Machilipatnam, where we had a very good experience with the Caterpillar. Is our partner. And then we had a very good experience. We really learned from them international practices, and that's how we started. And subsequently, we have a lot of projects, and then up to 2010, the business is very good, and we have expanded like anything, and we never had any this thing. But I want to share with you in 2012, we are doing one project in Orissa, 1,000 megawatts, and we have spent something like 1,200 crores. And all of a sudden, we have some legal problem, which we have not violated anything, but the court has given a different direction, and then we don't know what to do, how to go about it. And we lost three years, and I lost about 400 crores. And not only that problem, we have developed one project with the gas where we don't have the gas, and we have one coal mine where we lost. So with all these things, company got into real problems. So what I wanted to share with you is, first is the time. Once you have the patience, definitely will come out. And the second thing is really we have to work with passionately about all the works and all the directions, and ultimately you will come out, and then finally we are in a position to come out. So just I wanted to share with you the experience what we had in the business ups and downs, and how to come out. Since we don't have much time, just in the questions and answers this thing, definitely we will come out with it. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My journey is a very simple journey. I went to IIT, IIM, worked for some time in Bombay. Then things changed dramatically one day when me and my future partner, we were drinking in his house, late night, 12 o'clock. Suddenly he said, I think we should start a business. Both of us were doing extremely well. We were working for multinationals, very good salary, fantastic lifestyle, traveling, staying in 5-star hotels. Nothing was lacking. And I said, why do you want to start a business? He said, look, I don't like to retire. I want to work for life. I said, it's a good idea. What business do you want to start? He said, agriculture. I said, I don't know anything about agriculture. He said, I know about it. So we came to Hyderabad to check out the market. Everybody told us, don't start this business. You guys are not suitable. We went back thinking these guys are preventing us from competition. And suddenly, 1 week later, he calls me and tells me that, hey, I've resigned from Hindustan Lever, the top company in the world, in India at that time. I said, why did you resign? He said, no, I thought we agreed to start a business. I said, I never agreed. He said, I'm resigned. So what did the company do? Oh, they took my resignation happily. I said, my God, what has he done? He had a kid, small kid, and I was just married. I had no kids. So he came to Hyderabad, 6 months. I put my money, we shared all our salaries for 6 months. My company was not willing to relieve me for 9 months. But finally, I came here to start an agriculture business, which, by the way, failed miserably. In exactly about 950 days later, we were sitting down and discussing about going back to a job. Surprise, surprise, my partner tells me, look, both of us are not making money, we're losing money, both of us are good back in multinationals. Then my friend reminded me, you see, you committed to my father 1,000 days commitment. So another 50 days are left. Why don't you stay back? It's a good idea. Let's stay back for 50 days, and TMI happened. So first moral of the first story, which is historically 25 years old, commitments you keep. First lesson of life. There will be some ups and downs. You're not planned for it. Keep your commitments. The second lesson, which is again very interesting, My first employee, when we wanted to hire, I'm talking about 1980, 87, 88. First employee, we wanted to pay 600 rupees salary. And that employee wanted bus pass. In those days, 60 rupees was the bus pass. And me and my partner had a big fight for 2 days because he said you should not pay bus pass. I said I will pay bus pass. And we almost split the partnership. I'm going to give you a scale of salary. 600 rupees salary, 60 rupees bus pass. Partners are fighting because that's the level that which are operating. We started the company 25,000 rupees. We lost more than 5-6 lakhs when we started the second TMI version. Anyway, the second lesson of life, I think what I learned in my short journey in life is keep your costs low. Keep your personal expenditure very low. And that I think has stayed in good stead in the last 3 years. So I've 4 startups now. And the 5th startup I'm going to do now, very soon. Every startup I come with the same enthusiasm, the same attitude that we must solve a bigger problem of life. It's not just putting an app, solving this or solving that. Think of a bigger problem which impacts life, impacts people, and your passion will come and your success will come. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Murali Krishna Reddy, and I would like to share with you my life story in a nutshell. I know there is a limitation on time, but a few details of my journey, starting with my village to the present day, may perhaps help some of you to understand entrepreneurship is all about handling highs and lows with tenacity, with perseverance, and with a bit of cleverness and realistic approach. I'm a village boy. Back in 50s and 60s, I went to a village school, street school, where our master was just running the school in his own house. Just sit on a gunny bag and learn the alphabet in Telugu. Luckily, I went on to a better school nearby. That's where the seeds of my future were laid by beautiful teachers. There they inspired me to a higher aspiration and went on to study better and better. After graduation, I wanted to study MBA, went to Andhra University in 1973. The head of the department there and professor called me into the room because I went through a recommendation. He made me stand there and looked at me up and down like we go to a chicken market and look at the chicken up and down, whether it is fit for our consumption. He looked at me and said, he didn't even ask my name. You are not fit for MBA, he said. I was devastated. I didn't know what to say. I cried and came out of the room, and my benefactor who took me there came out and consoled me, don't worry, you will get it next year. Anyway, that was the system then. There were no entrance tests. Professor was a dictator, and he could talk whatever he wanted. At least some of you are living in a situation much, much better today. Later on, I went on to study my commerce degree, and then I went to United States. Luckily, they gave me a seat, and I passed out with honors in MBA and came back. The point I'm telling you is, India in 60s and 70s and 80s was a tough world. Many, many obstacles. Today, like my predecessor speaker was saying, the ecosystem is very important for an entrepreneur to flourish. But the ecosystem that existed in 70s and 80s was very constrictive, very, very difficult, and very, very discouraging. I was introduced as the man behind Green Park, and also currently I'm heading a group of companies called Mac Group. But my first journey started with a consumer product company, which is our own company. We started in 19 74, and product came into the market in 1979. Detergents. And we were taking on giants in the industry. Hindustan Lever, a multinational, had a stranglehold on the market those days. The others were Colgate. We were audacious, really speaking today. That day we didn't realize the difficulties. We were audacious and we started the company. And the biggest challenge we faced those days, today you have VCs and all kinds of strategic investors. Today you have a stock market to encourage an investor. Those days you had to convince the financial institutions to give you even a crore of loan. Those days, the challenge we faced was when we went to them and gave them a costing of our civil works because we had experience in the civil works, the banker said, you can't build it at that cost. You are underestimating the cost and you are going to run away. It took us almost a year to convince the investment banker to advance us loan. Those days it was called IDBI. They were the leaders in lending money. And the interest rates were exorbitant those days. Still we could survive. And I want to share you my own experiences in marketing. The detergents, when we were selling in the market, we had to go to villages, small towns, and carry our products in bullock carts. Bullock carts, literally speaking. And it didn't deter us. We took it because the product had to be in the shelves. Today, to bring the story back to the current situation, the current entrepreneur, if you want to have a highway to success, it's not there. Then we had bullock carts, then we had muddy roads. Even today, though you see so many great things happening all around you, when you are a startup, you are going to face a notional muddy road. You are going to carry your things in a notional bullock cart, but still you can climb. I shared my experience as a student because though I was rejected outright by a professor in Andhra University saying you are unfit to be an MBA, I could go on and study in the USA, in Chicago, and come back with an honors degree. What does it tell us? Okay, there will be rejections. There will be outright and unfair rejections, both from the customer, both from the investor, and also the market. We need to hang on there. You can't say, I'm coming from a village, I don't know English, my father didn't teach me, my mother didn't help. All that, we have to put it behind. If we have a desire, and if we have the commitment, we can make progress. There will be difficulties on the way. That's why I shared the story with you. Coming to later on, I want to touch upon the concept of innovation. My predecessor speaker spoke so eloquently on innovation and leading towards the need. Since the facilitator here introduced me as the man behind Midnight Biryani, it's a very, very small concept. No big deal about it. But it may ring some bells in your minds and hearts. I was running Green Park as its managing director. My coffee shop was already full. All the meals, they were doing full occupancy because we came up with value for money concept. People were queuing up. Then I was contemplating how to further increase sales in this particular coffee shop. Then I realized from 11 o'clock to next day, 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, my coffee shop is empty. How do I capitalize on this free space and free time? Then biryani is always there in Hyderabad. Midnight has always been there in Hyderabad. I combined both of them and said, why not I come up with a concept called Midnight Biryani? And It is mind-boggling because who the hell will eat biryani in the midnight? But I took the challenge because I thought there is a need. How? There was an adverse police rule in the city. By 11 o'clock, all the restaurants must be closed. Everybody hated that, but I loved it. Because in a star hotel, coffee shop can be there for 24 hours. So I said, whoever is hungry after 11, I'll feed them. People go to movies, people go to parties. There is nowhere to eat a decent meal. Now, why not give a full meal? Why a midnight biryani? Because the biryani can be cooked by my last shift people, so I don't need cooks beyond 11. They can all go home. In a big dekshi, they call it, big pot, I fill up the biryani and add a little bit of this and that and put it in the coffee shop, yes, and sell it. Because I don't need people, I don't need anything except service, buffet, and it became a runaway success. The reason I'm saying is, innovation is the key. Innovation can be with an altogether new concept. Innovation can be on an existing product. Somebody was saying, how do I make jewelry? How do I make something else? Already it is clouded. Already it is crowded. But still, if you have innovation, you can do well. So end of the day, innovation, persistence, and tenacity, and a bit of realism will make us successful entrepreneurs. I wish you all the best. And the journey of entrepreneurship is a journey which you choose. Job is something you go into a good ecosystem. Entrepreneurship, particularly startups, will face huge, humongous hurdles, but you can overcome being clever, being persistent, being aware of whether you are providing a solution to a problem existing or perceived or latent. And end of the day, you must be able to create wealth out of your ideas. Thank you so much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the last guy. Please bear with me. I am from Pragati Art Printers. My father started this business in 1962. I joined in 1978. The first day in the press, they were mentioning a couple of sentences which I didn't understand. And unfortunately, there was no Google in those days to Google and find out what it's all about. So learning was difficult. And whatever you learned, you kept it close to heart because you don't want anybody else to steal it and try to make money on that. And that's how things started. We went on to become the best printer in Lakdi Kapul, then the best in Hyderabad, and luckily in 2006, the best in the world. This is a long journey, but in this particular thing, what we found, what we learned is that initially roti, kapda, makan, very important. Then the Maruti 800 and maybe a Maruti 1000 with air conditioning. And after that, really, it doesn't really matter. It's your passion which runs the business and money which becomes the byproduct. And that's exactly what runs the business. One of the major reasons why many businesses fail, because while you're all doing startups, while you're all doing business, while all of you are concentrating on a job, but finally, the entrepreneur is one, apart from technology, apart from the system, has to look after the money. And that's where a lot of people fail. A lot of people do not understand the difference between capex and working capital. By freely interchanging those two, I have seen so many businesses go down because they really didn't understand. The markets were good, but still because of lack of capital, working capital, they perish. And all the time working towards with that passion to excel in your own field, that's what makes you tick. Otherwise, you will drop out. Change is the only constant thing in life, and we have to adapt to that change. Otherwise, we'll be thrown out.
You know, I was listening to everybody here, and some of you probably felt kind of impatient, and the reason probably is because all of them have long years of experience, and they wanted to share their learnings with you. And although they may have taken a little longer, I don't think you people have shown too much patience in terms of listening to them. that's okay. But in your businesses, at least give more time for yourselves and have the patience to go through the difficulties. As everybody said, there will be ups and downs in difficulties. So this is probably one of those small little lessons one can learn, to be a little bit patient and see what the other person is saying, try to understand what the person is saying without trying to get too impatient. Having said that, I kind of want to give a little bit of idea of what TIE does, and if anybody doesn't know here, TIE essentially is a platform for providing mentorship, and our charter members are all highly successful members who are seen the world and can guide young people who needs help and seek help. And it's a completely non-profit organization, and we run several programs, almost averaging one a week now. And there's for people who might be interested in learning about the complete business cycle of how a startup comes to fruition and ends up with a good exit. We are running a program called the Startup Accelerator. It's a 6-day program along with Watson Business School. And Sridevi here can give you more details when you need it. And with that, I think we are running out of time. So I would thank you very much for listening to us.